Hey everybody, welcome to the new video that's overdue. Should have been done about a week or two ago, but just kept getting delay after delay, and uh, and then just the horrible news over the weekend that just sucked all the air out of it. Just just tragic, just so very sad. Um, Before I get started, uh, thanks to everybody who watches and everybody who has watched. Any new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Long-time subscribers, at least fairly long-time subscribers, thanks for still being here. And I always appreciate you guys. So we'll start it off with got a lot of new stuff over the past 2 weeks, at least, um, from Chicago, a store that I have visited before, but I haven't visited in a while, and then the local store closer to me out in the burbs. So we'll start off with the pops, and the first one is one that my girlfriend picked up for herself because she's such a big fan of the show, and now that I've been watching it more, now I'm a fan of the show, and it gets I give it a hell of a lot more credit than I ever gave it. It's actually it's really funny, and she picked up Monica Geller with the rubber bands or something in her hair. I never saw that episode, but yeah, she picked up Monica Geller. She found that one, and Doctor Doom. Definitely enjoying Doctor Doom, and he's probably my second favorite all-time Marvel villain. Definitely the top Marvel Fantastic Four villain for me, but definitely my very close number two all-time favorite Marvel villain. And much to the chagrin of her, uh, much to her chagrin, but something that she knew I would enjoy, and I always thank her for those that she finds for me like that. Uh, I finally have a six-time Super Bowl champion in my home, nicely placed on my bookshelf whenever I find a space for it. Hopefully, the dynasty will continue in some kind of way, but uh, that one's really cool to have. I was looking for one before and I didn't find it, or they just didn't have it. So I thank her for that one, as always. Uh, first stack of new books. To start off with the Iron Manual. Uh, this was a freebie that you got or the store got, one of my local stores got for however many copies of Iron Man 2020 they got. So you get it's an Iron Manual. You get a small preview of the first issue, character descriptions and bios and everything, and give you a rundown of the series and what to expect, and even even a even a bio page for the artist and writer. It's pretty cool. They did one like that too for Tony Stark Iron Man when it first came out. So they got those. They still got a pretty decent stack of those, I think. Um, so that was a pretty cool little freebie to get. Um, Start off with the filler books. Sandman Mystery Theater, number 4. Definitely a favorite series of mine. Um, I love those old 40s era kind of books. Kind of like the old radio shows, the old mystery suspense radio shows from that time. The Shadow, the Phantom, those kinds of shows like that. It's just I just love that era of I love that era of radio. Uh, Web of Spider-Man number 57. It's Web 57. Fantastic Four versus X-Men number 4. Nice rich red on that cover. It's a really good one. I do have the standalone Mephisto versus the X-Men issue, or Mephisto versus Fantastic Four. One of those two. I know I got that one in there too somewhere. Um, Green Arrow number 38. It's a nice black cover on that one. Still on the run to the or on course to finish that, get that entire first run. So that one's closing in slowly but surely. Green Arrow number 16. Definitely looking forward to reading that one. See what that one's like. Mike Grell just did some great covers for that series. Just fantastic work. almost like Dave Johnson on his 100 Bullets covers, but just in a different way. But very cool on those covers, and the series is just great. Green Arrow number 33, right? Yeah, 33. Yeah, Green Arrow 33. Another really good cover on that one. One of my favorites already. Fantastic Four number 360. In the process of completing as much a full run as possible of Fantastic Four, the first volume. I don't know how close I'm going to be able to get, but I'm sure as hell going to give it a run. See how far I can really get in however long I do it for. Batman number 478. It's a cool, haunting, gothic, gold, bronze, gargoyle cover. It's pretty cool. And Batman Confidential number 1. Yeah. Nice Whilce Portacio cover on that one. It's cool that he's still at least doing covers. He might not be doing monthly work as much like he did in his early Image days and X-Men days and things and X Factor, but at least he's still doing covers and in some independent work and things. And he still makes the shows. He still makes a lot of the convention shows. He travels from city to city, so hopefully he'll be here this summer at one of them at least, and I can make it down there. First round of newer books. Iron Man 2020, number 1. That's the Machine Man cover from 84, 85, somewhere around there. But that was the Machine Man cover. Iron Man Premiere variant 2020. That was pretty cool to find. I thought it was I did not expect to find that one in there because usually those kinds of alternate covers are usually gone by the time I get there. And that one either got away from me or it was something that somebody picked up and then they put back. So it fell right in my lap. So I'm pretty happy about that one. Batman Curse of the White Knight, number 6. Such a great series, mini series. I think it's 8 issues, but still such a really, really good series. I got to pick up. I'm maybe 3 issues behind, so I got to pick up where I left off. But definitely a favorite series of mine. It has been since the first issue. Jump into the next group for now, for a brief minute, before I round home. Superman number 123. Definitely a really good. I don't know about a classic cover, but it's a memorable cover. It's a nice glow in the dark. I actually like the electric blue costume of Superman, but nothing beats the traditional costume that we all know. I was shocked when I read that in the paper, and when it first became news that they were going to change the costume. So it was pretty interesting to see that. Never expected that one. 100 Bullets number 83. Still one of my all-time favorite series from the modern age, and hopefully it'll be turned into something more than a comic, because it's been in development hell in terms of being a video game or a TV series or a movie. It's been like that for at least 15 years, and nobody's really ever done anything with it. So it might have went back to, the rights might have gone back to Eduardo Risso and Azzarello to just do what they're going to do with it, shop it around again. So hopefully it'll be out at some point and it'll be big news. Batgirl number 2. That was a nice find in the 50-cent boxes, actually, in one of my local stores. That was a nice find. Spider-Man number 3. That's the Sarah Pichelli, however you say her last name. That was the alternate cover for her. Conan Serpent War number 3, Moon Knight Virgin cover. This was more of an impulse buy more than anything. No real attachment to it outside of the fact that it's just a really cool cover. I'm not sure who did this one though. Gotta look on the inside. But this was more of an impulse buy. It was a really cool cover though. That one really jumped out at me. Star number 1, standard cover. I'm very interested in this. I've been pretty interested in this one for a while. It's the first time I saw it, and the Scott Campbell alternate, fantastic cover on that one. Still looking forward to the story, regardless of the covers. Um, Thor #1, probably my favorite of all the Thor covers. All the versions of Thor that have been done over the 50 years in existence. Jack Kirby and all the other guys that worked on them over the years, all the characters that have been there in the series. This was really, really cool cover. And the story, I've heard the story is really good too. So I'm looking forward to jumping into that one. Another Thor #1. Just awesome John Buscema homage cover. Just it's a fantastic cover on this one. Looks even more intense than the original. And the original is already one of the standard covers, period. It's one of the most legendary covers. And that one's even more intense than the original. But they're both just excellent, excellent covers. Um, Power Rangers Beyond the Grid. This is issue 33. This is a part of the Beyond the Grid storyline. Nice yellow helmet cover. I do have the green cover as well. Um, and these are pretty cool to have. I like the helmet covers, if anything. If anything, the helmet covers, I've always liked those. And that looks more like the Power Ranger Zeo helmet covers. But originals, classic helmet covers, Zeo covers, they still look pretty cool regardless. And Vampire State Building. Now, I'm usually pretty interested in a very good vampire story. If it's something like that, where it looks like it's very, very haunting, then I'll be more inclined to check it out more than pass it up, unless the story just isn't grabbing me. But I'm swinging a little bit more towards the indie books these days, because now Marvel and DC, it's almost like they're just too focused on the big guys, just too busy focused on all the main ones. I think in part because of all the success they've had with the movies and the continued success they want to have with that. That's where I think a lot of their attention is focused on. Um, so it's good to move away from the big guys after a little while. As far as the hobby goes itself, just for your reading enjoyment, outside of the uh, financial, outside of the financial part, but it's all enjoyment regardless. But it's good to check out the indie books and really see what's out there outside of the norm, because a lot of times it is true you get better, and if not better, you get more enjoyable stories in the indie books, I find sometimes, than the big guys, because it's almost like you know what to expect out of the big stories, the big characters, you know what's coming, and all these events and all this kind of stuff, and it's just I don't know, after a little while you just get bored, or it just seems too repetitive. So it's good to branch out a little bit, and hopefully Marvel and DC, they kind of branch out a little bit over time to see what these indie creators can do. At least in a separate division, kind of like Marvel tried to do with Tsunami, which did not work because I don't think they put a lot of thought into it, not as much as it needed. So they tried to focus or put some focus on the manga boom at the time in the early 2000s, and it just didn't work about 15 years ago. And they tried it again. I don't know how good it's going over right now, but they probably do need some kind of brain trust up there concerning that part. So hopefully it goes somewhere. But swing a little bit more towards the indie books, give them a shot a little bit more. Um, uh, Shout out to Jim and Chris at my local store out in the burbs for putting this one on the side for me. Thank you guys, I greatly appreciate it. Thor #1. This is the incentive. Is it the incentive? The premiere. The premiere alternate cover. And for some reason, I just gravitate to those incentive covers. I'm not really sure what it is about them, but I just I just love those covers like that. Uh, Guardians of the Galaxy #1. This was the one per store variant that I had no idea was even there. I have no idea how I encountered this. Just got a little curious when the new books came out that particular Wednesday. just pawing through the stack, everything that was there. You see one cover, you see another, and you look at it and you go, man, I wonder what this is in the plastic. Looks kind of cool, black and white sketch cover. All right, come home and you find out that it's a one per store variant, and it was just sitting there on the shelves. And it's nothing beats finding an issue like that in the wild. It just doesn't. Nothing. It's just such a feeling. Golden age, silver age, one per store, premiere, whatever. Just finding those types of books out there, along with what you get, it's just such a feeling. And one of my already favorites from one of my favorite artists of all time, uh, the Best of Michael Turner sketchbook. Just a fantastic one to find. Nothing but all of his art and stories behind it and everything, and definitely an all-time favorite artist of mine. And it's just a shame that he's not here anymore. He died a young man, and it's just a shame that he's not here to further expand on what he already did. But his art is just fantastic. It's just, yeah, I'd never saw anything like it when I first saw it all those years ago in early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Never seen any kind of art like that before, and it just blew me away. So any of those art books like that you find from those artists, jump on them. Hardcover, uh, paperbacks, even smaller books like that, jump on them. They're a feast for the eyes. Uh, Ultraman #5, a little outside of the normal, but definitely still a big manga fan, big anime fan still. Marvel is in the process of coming out with new Ultraman comics, American style comics. I'm not really sure how I feel about that yet, because I feel like Ultraman is a Japanese product. So I'm hoping that they stay true to the original idea from Japan as opposed to Americanizing it, and they don't try to change it drastically too much for American audiences to jump on board. I mean, he's a great character. He's always been a great character. One of my favorites, period, of all time. Because I remember some of the episodes of the live action show from when I was a kid growing up in the '80s, before the stations just rotated it out. So hopefully they don't stray too far from the original concept and sanitize and Americanize it too much, and hopefully it does well. It does well. So the character, he definitely deserves some American exposure. Um, and last but not least, a Christmas present to myself that I saw semi accidentally, but I was actually looking for some books for a friend of mine over in Europe. He was a huge, amazing Spider-Man fan. Hey, Adam, how you doing? And I picked this one up for myself. Amazing Spider-Man #68. Just a fantastic, very clean cover, very clean book for an issue that came out in 1969. Never expected to find an Amazing Spider-Man issue in such great shape, but never expected to find too many, because you don't find them out in the stores raw very often. Not very often, and if you do, they're probably in other stores in other states. But out here, not too often you find some nice raw Amazing Spider-Man issues, especially in this good a condition. So thanks again to Jim and Chris for having this one available, and I think a pretty fair price. I think a pretty fair price on this one. And that was the Christmas present to myself for all my years of, or at least my past year of responsibility, all the adult crap, of course, that you got to deal with. Um, and that's it. That's it for now. Keeping up with the news, any of the comic news and things like that, and um, hopefully there'll be some more developments with a lot of the issues and things like that. Any new collected series, things of that nature. Um, until next time, uh, collect what you love what you collect, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully. And the most important thing is to keep everybody in your life close to you, as close as you possibly can. Love them, appreciate them, Just let them know how you feel about them. Let them know how you feel about them, because anything can happen at any time. So it's good to keep them close to you. Just let them know how you feel. Let them know that you appreciate them, and they'll hopefully, I think, send a sentiment back. So until next time, we'll see you then.